saw it on Fox News, is a lot of people are mad at the ADL, as am I, for many other reasons, but the ADL is supposed to be this defender of Jews organization. And I noticed that with you, I never saw any of these organizations coming to your defense. Instead, I see organizations like the ADL defending the other side because they line up politically with them. And I'm blown out of the water of how difficult they've made my life here in Seattle, but also how they weren't there just because somebody lined up the wrong way politically. And now they're pushing this white supremacist narrative.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the ADL because if you go to Harvard's campus, for example, and you talk about the ADL, you will be laughed at because ADL is a white nationalist, far right, white supremacist group. And the reality is it's probably the exact opposite. This is an organization that internally within the American Jewish community receives so much criticism specifically because they spent a considerable amount of time pre-October 7th focusing on issues that not only had nothing to do with the Jewish people, but in many respects actually harmed the Jewish people. Movements like Black Lives Matter being one of them. And look, I supported Black Lives Matter, but in my defense, I was 17 at the time. An organization that raises hundreds of millions of dollars annually, all in the name of protecting the American Jewish community, should probably have realized because the signs were there that this is not an organization we want to be supporting. So that's number one. And then the second point, as it pertains to Charlie in particular, if the whole point of the ADL or really any organization is to, protect the interests of the American Jewish community, Charlie was one of our biggest defenders, and he wasn't Jewish. This is someone who I said earlier was so morally and religiously repulsed by anti-Semitism. And in fact, when he had, this is a month or two ago at his Turning Point USA conference, a debate between Dave Smith, the third-rate comedian, and Josh Hammer, an actual intellectual, I obviously disagree with Dave Smith on basically everything, especially his comedic material, because it's not funny. But point being, Charlie prefaced and closed that debate by saying, we can and should have debates and disagreements when it comes to Israel and America first. But what we must agree on is that there is no room for Jew hatred in any political discourse in the United States. So agree or disagree with Charlie's politics, but he in effect was like the best spokesman for the American Jewish community. And he wasn't Jewish. So when I, for example, go on TV, and I was on Fox today, when I talk about Israel or when I talk about why I support the American Jewish community, it's like, yeah, obviously, my name is freaking Shabbos Kestenbaum and I wear a yarmulke. But when a guy like Charlie Kirk says it, he had no incentive to do it. On the contrary, he had pressures to not do it. Gen Z Americans were increasingly shifting away from Israel.